You had me at hello.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
This seems so weird.
There's no place like home.
I'm gonna make him an offer down the pit.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Gone with the Wind. We're here to talk about a bunch of stuff here. Like, we've got the Oscar shortlist and the BAFTA longlist that came out recently. We've got a bunch of specialist Gold Awards to talk about as well. And maybe we'll talk about the Globes. We'll see how long we're going at the time. But Dan, how are you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. I just finally getting some time off from running around, going to screenings and reviewing things. But now I'm into the award season mode. We're here to talk about all this good stuff. I can't wait.
But that being said, I'm going to start off by we're going to start off by talking about the Society of Composers and Lyricists, which I didn't even know was a thing until I was looking at the awards calendar, saw that, and but basically, like, these are the awards that for the scores and songs and all that. So they've got about 4 categories. So the first one they've got is Outstanding Score for a Studio Film. So is Alexander Desplat for Pinocchio, Carter Burwell for Banshees at Inisherin, Michael Abels for Nope, Michael Giacchino for The Batman, John Powell for Don't Worry Darling. But Dan, anything that kind of stands out to you here?
No, I mean this seems like the right grouping. I mean, it's hard to figure out what all these people are thinking, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, we'll definitely get more and more of a discussion when we get to the shortlist for score, especially. We've got Outstanding Score for an Independent Film. We've got Leo Bernberg and Zach Robinson for Read the Yael Yankovic Story, Sharon Farber for Brainwashed, Sex, Camera, Power, Ryan Lott for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Rob Simerson for The Whale, and Mark Smythe for The Reef. I mean, I don't know about like 2 of these, about the score for Red and Everything All at Once are 2 that I thought was really good. The Whale still hasn't been released here yet. I don't know why distributor takes long as some rare places, but it is what it is. But these kind of seem like the perfect ones for an independent film. But Dan, any thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, seems like no-brainer. Everything's going to win this one. But also, Weird Al, despite the music, the songs and things that are in there, there is an interesting score in Weird Al, which is kind of interesting because it's about a musician and it's about, him making up songs and stuff. So it kind of has a nice mix of songs and score. So, but I think this seems like it would be everything.
Yeah, and especially with Red, especially, it's good to know that like some of these smaller guilds, like for these specialist type of things like composer lyricist, they don't go by the eligibility that the Oscars go by, because as we know, Roku didn't put it in the actual like theaters, so they couldn't be eligible for Oscars. But it's good to see it's getting recognized somewhere. But next up, we've got Outstanding Song from a Musical Comedy. We got Shell Papa from Pinocchio, Good Afternoon from Spirited, Light the Match from Central Park. I have no idea what the hell that is. Love Is Not Love from Bros. Now You Know from Read the Yael Yankovic Story. But yeah, this is a good list. At least one of these, I'm fairly confident is probably going to get pop up in the Oscar 5 for scores. I believe 2 of these, and I think 2 of these are on the short list when we'll get to them eventually anyway. But Dan, what are your thoughts for Outstanding Song for Musical Comedy?
Yeah, I mean, I think Spirited has a little bit of a support, but because it's on Apple Plus. A lot of folks haven't seen that, and you got Chopper Pop. I mean, Chopper Pop is going to get probably it's the 5th song in the Oscars best top 5, more than likely. Don't quote me on that, folks. I have it in my list of 5 songs, so I think it's a good song. If you know where it fits in the movie, I think you'll understand that is probably the front runner to win here.
Yep. And then we've got outstanding song for a drama/documentary. We've got our good friend Diane Rowan back again with applause from Tell It Like a Woman. Carolina from Where the Crawdads Sing. Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick. Lift Me Up from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and You Made It Feel Like Home from Bones It All. Yeah, so this isn't as remembers. I think like Carolina, Hold My Hand, and Lift Me Up. I think they have good shots, and they're popping up other places too. So I think they're also in the Golden Globes as well. But I think this is a good mix. And I mean, this is apparently there's no counting out Diane Rowan. She's always going to pop up with a song every now and then. Dad, what are your thoughts here?
It's like she's like Susan Lucci, man. She just keeps popping up every year. It's like gets nominated every year, but I don't think she's got a shot this year. And I think the one that's starting to creep to the top, starting to pop its head out of the water there is old Lady Gaga, Hold My Hand. And you know, the thing about that is some of those songs are in the credits. There's a scene where you hear that song in the background of some scenes in Top Gun Maverick. So it's in the movie. And I think with the groundswell behind Top Gun Maverick, I think this is a place where they could reward that movie and give Lady Gaga her 2nd Oscar.
Yeah. But with that, we're going to move into the Oscar shortlist, and I'm just going to go straight back just to bookend the music discussion. Once I find them, yeah. So on the shortlist for original score, we've once I actually get it to a point where I can see them all at once. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Devotion, Don't Worry Darling, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, Pinocchio, Nope, She Said, The Woman King, and Woman Talking. So I'm going to open up discussion here because as I know one of the ones you're going to bring up is the Batman. And it's one of those ones, it's worth noting that everywhere the Batman has been nominated, the category has just been best score. So, and the Oscars is best original score. I've sort of read some things online with people theorizing for why that it's not been popped up. And I think a lot of people are saying like they do use the motive of Ave Maria a lot in the Batman. So maybe because there's that motive that pops up every now and then, maybe that's kind of taking it over that threshold for original score territory. I don't know, but that's kind of where my theory is for why it's left out here. But Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, that's a song, and that would be considered a song, which they are using that song on the soundtrack. That has nothing to do with the score. The score is all throughout the movie, the main score by Michael Giacchino. Now, it's totally separate then, Ave Maria, like you're saying. Why they would put those two together, why would they can't separate those two in their minds, I don't know. It is in the movie. You're absolutely 100% right. But I would consider that as a song and not as part of the score. And the other thing is, I think Women Talking is starting to creep towards the top of the list here as far as a lot of people are predicting Women Talking. And it's not getting a lot of love in a lot of other places. So it's interesting why it's getting a lot of love here. And Banshees also is getting some love here.
Yeah. I mean, I think it with the Batman, I think yes, like Ave Maria is a song, but I think what people are getting at is they use the motif like the non actual song of it, and they wove it so much into the score. I think, but regardless, there's a reason for some reason the Batman is just not hitting with the Oscars branch. I mean, honestly, like I enjoy the Batman. The score is not one of the things I remember from the movie anyway.
Oh, I do.
Like all I remember is Ave Maria. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, it's one of those ones like, but just looking at this, like, at the moment, I would like I'd say, like, for me, I think the 5 that could make it in. I think the Fablemans actually might make it in because it is like
John
it is
Williams.
going to be, yeah, and I believe it is going to be because I believe he's retired after this now. But so I think for him, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets nominated as a, like, you hear, look, this is your last score. You can get nominated. Whether or not you win is another thing. And I think the score for Nope is actually picking up a lot of steam as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if that slides in there. Woman Talking, as you said, I think is popping up a lot. Pinocchio, I think, has a good shot. And I mean, it's going to be interesting, but All Quiet, and as what's going to pop up a lot in this, All Quiet on the Western Front is getting a lot of love in these below the line categories. So I wouldn't be surprised if that gets nominated for original score.
No, you hit the nail on the head, Malcolm. It seems like every year there's one foreign language film that seems to just pop up in a bunch of places, you know. And this year it seems like All Quiet on the Western Front is the movie that's really getting a lot of love, like you said. And the score is very intense.
Yeah. But moving on to Best Original Song, but we've got Time from Amsterdam, Nothing Is Lost, You Give Me Strength from Avatar The Way of Water, Lift Me Up from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once, Ciao Papa from Pinocchio, Till You're Home from Man Called Otto, Natu Natu from Triple R, My Mind and Me from Selena Gomez, My Mind and Me, Good Afternoon from Spirited, Applause from Tell It Like a Woman, Stand Up from Tool, Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick, Dust and Ash from The Voice of Dust and Ash, Carolina from Where the Crawdads Sing, New Body Rumba from The White Noise. So just looking at this, like, a lot of this is like, I don't remember the song from Avatar The Way of Water or Everything All at Once, but it's one of those ones, like, I mean, a lot of these is probably ones that popped up a lot.
But Ciao Papa is not in there, right?
No, Ciao Papa is.
Oh, it is in there. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you say it. Okay. I don't recall you said that. That's why I said that. No, I mean, look, when they want, think about this. Think about you're the producer and you're ABC or whatever, and you're having an award show. Think about having Rihanna, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga sing songs on your broadcast. Tell me that wouldn't get ratings, right? Those three? They're mega stars, absolute mega stars. You know them three are getting in there. Now, we talked about it earlier. You can't count out Diane Warren. No matter how much you want to count out Diane Warren, you can't count her out. Ciao Papa is a catchy song during the time, and it's a sad song. I like the song because, Malcolm, I got my guild. We had a Spotify list. I don't remember if I told you this. We have a Spotify list. And the people that are in charge of the guild, our guild board of directors, created a Spotify list. So I got to listen to probably 90% of these songs over and over and over again. And I'm telling you right now, the song from Till is fantastic. And I'm glad to see it make this list. And I would love to see it get in there. I don't know if it will, but I think that 5th spot is up for grabs. I think it could go any direction. I think you might as well put Ciao Papa in there by now. I think you got 4 pretty much locks.
Yeah, well, yeah. So here's the thing: like the ones that have been popping up and just bit, so is the five that is in the Golden Globes. Is you've got Lift Me Up from Black Panther. You've got Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick. You've got Caroline from The Crawdads Sing, and you've got Natu Natu and Ciao Papa. So, and that is the five that I think a lot of people are predicting.
I forgot about that. Malcolm, I forgot about that. You know, Natu Natu won my guild, the Central Florida Film Critics Guild, Critics Association of Central Florida. Natu Natu won our best song, but and Hold Your Hand came in second. So there you go. So it's definitely picking up, and I completely forgot it. I'm glad you brought that up. Natu Natu. Can you imagine that song being performed at the Oscars with a dance, a dance fight number or whatever? Wouldn't it be awesome?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think just with how popular Triple R has been, I wouldn't be surprised, even if it doesn't get nominated. I wouldn't be surprised if they find a spot to play it.
My feel, you know, me and you texted, a little bit of disclosure. Me and Malcolm, when these lists came out, I messaged Malcolm. I said, Malcolm, I am not a happy camper. And he says, yeah, I know. Once I read the list, I knew you weren't going to be happy. Where is Lao Lao Crocodile? Nowhere to be found. Nobody's talking about Lao Lao Crocodile. I don't understand, Malcolm, but we will go on. We'll move on. We're not going to delve on that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones because, like, I think it's just one of those movies that just came and went and just everyone just forgot about because, like, even in the just talking about the Society of Composers and Lyricists, it didn't get in anywhere either. So
Yeah,
I think it's just a case of I think it's just a case of everyone it just came and went and no one, it didn't really make any splash.
It didn't resonate with people like it did me. That's all.
Yeah, but I mean, this is one of those. This is going to be interesting because, like, while I think we could have the like five, which has been coming up a lot, and as the Golden Globe 5 at the moment, anyway. But the other one is like Diane Warren could sneak in there and knock someone out. And unfortunately, as much as I like that movie and want to see it at least represented once, I do think it's probably going to be T Swift that's going to be the one that gets knocked out for something like Applause or Good Afternoon or even Selena Gomez. But I think it's one of those ones like, I think just having Rihanna, Lady Gaga there, and even like with something like Triple R, which is a movie everyone loves, and if that, because I dare say, if that gets nominated, it's going to be performed regardless.
Yeah, I mean, remember that? I don't remember if you remember, Malcolm. Remember the year that $1 Million Baby won all those Oscars, and it won in a bunch of, and they had to perform the score or the song or whatever from it, and it kind of changes the ceremony a little bit. You know what I mean? It kind of does something different when you have something like RRR and Natu Natu. You get this, you get the actors there and they can do a number on stage. It kind of brings a different flavor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But anyway, moving on, we're going to go into documentary feature film. And on the shortlist, we have All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Bad Axe, Children of the Mist, Descendant, Fire of Love, Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen, A Journey, A Song, Hidden Letters, A House Made Out of Splinters, The Janes, Last Flight Home, Moonage Daydream, Navalny, yeah, Retrograde, and The Territory. So I mean, you've got the two like there. I think people would argue are the favorites, like with Fire and Love and All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. But
All That Breathes, Navalny, and Moon Age Daydream. To me, that's the five right there. That's just my opinion, Malcolm. I think that's your five. All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Moon Age Daydream, Fire of Love, and Navalny. That is the five. And four of those are on my ballot for my guild. When I voted for four of those. So the only one is All That Breathes because I didn't see it. I had it. I had a screener of it, and It just completely slipped my mind, and I forgot to watch it. But I think that's the 5. I mean, I think this is the problem. Is I think there might have been a couple that I would have liked to have seen in the what is it, the long list or the short list, whatever you call it, the long list. And but I think those are the 5. I think that is going to be your 5. Maybe you might slip in Argentina 1985 might slip in there. There's no Saint Omar. Was Saint Omar not on the list?
Not for documentary.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's foreign language. My bad. That's right. It's foreign language. My bad. You're right. Yeah. So I would say those 5 are the 5, Malcolm, with the potential of Argentina 1985.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Once again, Argentina 1985 is not on documentary.
It's in foreign language.
It's in foreign language. Yeah,
I'm getting my categories mixed up, Malcolm.
Yeah, but like I don't watch a lot of documentaries. I was going to see Moonage Daydream, just didn't get around to it. And I like the fact it's getting a lot of love here. And I'd like to get in because I don't know if, but it would be good sort of have David Bowie pop up there, and something like I don't know if he's I don't think he's credited like in there any, but yeah.
Well, and the other thing too is, if you got some of these channels like Disney Plus, Fire of Love's on there, CNN. If you got in America, if you're listening to this in America, if you got CNN, you can go to On Demand and watch Navalny. There are places that you could find some of these documentaries, and I recommend them. There's sometimes Navalny, all the Beauty and the Bloodshed and Turning Every Page and Fire of Love were in my top 15, 20 films of the year. They are fantastic films if you just want to see something about real people going through real stuff in their lives, and the way they decide to film these different people's lives and talk about these various topics is very interesting sometimes, Fire of Love is about volcanoes. I'll tell you, I never knew I wanted to learn about so much about volcanoes, Malcolm, until I watched Fire of Love. I love that movie. Yeah.
But next up we've got, I'm going to quickly go over this. I'm going to mention it, but we don't need to really talk about it. I know I don't really follow short films, but I don't know about you, Dan, but I'm just going to mention it just so we can at least have it on record that we talked about them. We've got documentary short film. We've got American Justice on Trial, People versus Newton, Anastasia, Angolia do Heroes, Voices from Plantation Prison, As Far as I Can Run, The Elephant Whisperers, The Flag Makers, Happiness is £4 billion, Hole Out, Holding Moses, How Do You Measure a Year, Martha Mitchell Effect, Newton Spear, Shut Up and Paint, Stranger at the Gate, 38 at the Garden. Anything you want to mention about any of those?
I saw one of them, The Flag Makers. It's very good. That's my top pick.
But next up to a category I'm slightly salty at, but it is what it is. International feature film. We've got Argentina from Argentina 1985, Austria Corsage, Belgium Close, whichever one.
Close.
Cambodia Return to Seoul, Denmark Holy Spider, France Saint Omar, Germany All Quiet on the Western Front, India Last Film Show, Ireland The Quiet Girl, Mexico Bardo False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, Morocco The Blue Caftan, Pakistan Joyland, Poland EO, South Korea Decision to Leave, and Sweden Cairo Conspiracy. I'm salty because the New Zealand movie Muru did not get nominated, but it is what it is.
But the Donkey movie did get in there. The movie about following a donkey around gets in, right? And I'd be salty if I was you too, Malcolm.
I mean, I'm not sure what movie the donkey one is.
EO.
Oh, yeah.
It's a movie following this donkey around, and it's from the perspective at some points in the film of the donkey looking out the eyes of the donkey. It's very interesting. Actually not a bad film. But I'll tell you, this is an interesting race. I mean, there's a lot of good foreign films out. I would definitely, you got to put All Quiet on the Western Front in this mix. Close is really, really difficult. I'll have a review up very, very soon for Close on my own channel, my own website, from thefourthrow.com. St. Omar, another one. Very difficult subject matter, but when you're watching it, you're just completely engaged in it, you know? Oh, God. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Soul, I had, once again, another film I had at my fingertips, Malcolm. Forgot to watch it. And so I didn't end up watching it. I thought I had watched all the big foreign language international featured contenders, but I had missed that one. Did Bardot not make the list, or it did?
Yeah, no, it is. It's
oh
there.
My God, it's that bad. That is bad, Malcolm. I don't recommend people seeing that film. I thought it was one of the worst things I've seen. If I made a list of the worst films of the year, Bardot would be on the list. But I'm not gonna bash people. I decided this year is going to be the start of a year where I'm not going to start bashing people by talking at the worst of the year lists. So I decided not to do a worst of the year list, because every film, these guys put a lot of men, women, whoever, put a lot of work into these films, and they don't expect it to end up being bad. So I decided not to do bad, but Bardot would be on there as one of the worst films I've seen all year. I'm not a fan of that, but I think this is, I mean, Argentina 1985, St. Omar, Close, All Quiet on the Western Front. Holy Spider's been getting in a lot of places. I don't know if it's got enough to get in. It's a very good movie, Holy Spider. This is going to be interesting to narrow this down to 5, because there's definitely more than 5 that could get in there.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't watch a lot of. I'm not a big foreign movie guy, and it's just one of those ones, like, the ones I've been hearing a lot about that is probably going to get in, like All Quiet on the Western Front, Saint Omar, Argentina 1985, Decision to Leave. Bardo has been popping up a lot of places, so I wouldn't be surprised if that does get in. I know you don't like the movie, Dan, but it's been popping up a lot, and I think EO's been popping up a lot too. So it's going to be interesting.
No, you mentioned Decision to Leave. I completely forgot that was on the list. It made my top 10 of the year. Fantastic film. I can't say enough about Decision to Leave. If I had my druthers, Malcolm, I'd love to see Decision to Leave, Park Chan-wook win the Oscar for Best International Feature. But I'll tell you, it's a really close race. No pun intended. I'll tell you those 5 or 6 or 7, it could, how they get narrowed down to 5 is going to be interesting, Malcolm.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll have to say, it's a smart strategy of India not giving other countries a chance by not putting by not nominating Triple R.
How about the irony if they put the other Indian movie in there? How about that irony if that gets in there? And I'm hearing it's an Indian version of Paradiso, Cinema Paradiso. That's why I have not seen it. I heard it's an Indian version of Cinema Paradiso.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. Like, I think whoever is in charge of nominating the movies from countries for consideration for foreign language, I think they saw the buzz that Triple R was having already around the world. It was like, well, it's probably going to make it in regardless. I don't know if we try to help it or not. So we'll just try this other one that we want to highlight.
Yeah, that's fine. The thing is, there's an Indian Forrest Gump out this year, and it was fantastic, Malcolm. I'll tell you, Indian cinema, Bollywood cinema is really picking up over here in other parts of the world,
Yeah. But anyway, moving on, we've got makeup and hairstyling. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Amsterdam, Babylon, The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Blonde, Crimes of the Future, Elvis, Emancipation, and The Whale. So this is one that I think is the Whales to lose. Like, if they somehow not get nominated, it's going to be interesting. But if it was to pick 5 out of this one, I think The Whale is probably getting in. Look, despite what you think about the movie, the actual makeup and that they did to make Ana de Armas look like Marilyn Monroe was perfect. So I would say I would hesitantly say Blonde as well could get in, and then maybe Black Panther: Wakanda Forever for makeup and hairstyling for sure. All Quiet on the Western Front I think is getting a lot of love, so I wouldn't be surprised if that makes it in. And I would actually hesitantly say Amsterdam because I think for like Batman and Babylon, while they're probably both big on the makeup, I think they're more costume wise. I think they're more costume than actual makeup. But Dan, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, well, the costume, the makeup aspect of in Batman is basically the Penguin, and then Crimes of the Future is just such a weird movie, but they got like prosthetics and they got like ears all over the place and bodies, and they're doing kind of surgeries, and it's just weird makeup. It is. But I think this seems like, the same scenario, the same narrative to me, Malcolm, and you could agree or disagree, as Darkest Hours with Gary Oldman as Churchill. It seems to me that's where these two are going to go hand in hand, Whale and makeup and the Whale and best actor. You know what I mean? So, but Black Panther, I liked their makeup and hairstyle and stuff, but I thought it was much better in the original Black Panther. And I think the cinematography really kind of hides a lot of the makeup of Namor's people and stuff. I would have liked better lighting so we could see these characters and these people better. And obviously, the different tribes in Wakanda and stuff. But I thought they did it better in Black Panther. I'll be honest with you, Malcolm. That's just my 2 cents on that. But yeah, All Quiet has a lot of blood and a lot of mud and a lot of gore. And these guys look like they've been through war. And when you're watching a movie about war, you want it to look like guys have been through war. And that's why I'm right with you when you say, hey, All Quiet on the Western Front. That could go along with some of these other categories. Why they keep getting in these long lists is because they have some really genuine aspects to that film that really resonate, and that's one of them.
Yeah. But yeah. Once again, it's a short category. I'm going to quickly go over this, but we've got animated short form. We've got Black Slide, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, The Debutante, The Flying Sailor, The Garbage Man, Ice Merchants, It's Nice in Here, More Than I Want to Remember, My Year of Dicks, New Moon, and Otters Told Me the World is Fake and I Think I Believe It, Passenger, Save Ralph, Sierra, and Steakhouse. Is it an interesting bunch of animated short films? I think the one that I think is probably going to end up winning is the big high-profile one, which is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. So you got like Idris Elba, Woody Harrelson both voicing in it. Tom Holland, I think, is
Tom Hollander.
Yeah, and I really want the short film My Year of Dicks to be nominated, just so someone has to say nominated is My Year of Dicks. But
yeah,
Dan,
it's going to catch a laugh on that one. But yeah, I actually saw The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, or The Horse and the Fox, and it's what a delightful little film, Malcolm. I got to champion that because I saw it, and those 4 voices are fantastic in it.
Yeah,
and it's interesting animation.
Yeah, it's on, like, it's one of the few that's actually free to watch. Like, it's on Apple TV, so yeah, it's got that behind it as well. And then we've got live action short film, which once again I'm going to quickly go through because I don't know how much you have seen. We've got All in Favour, Almost Home, An Irish Goodbye, Ivalu, Le Pupil, The Lone Wolf, Nakam, Night Ride, Plastic Killer, The Red Suitcase, The White Birds, Side Rule, The Treatment, Tula, and Washer. Anything that you've seen in this bunch or know about?
Unfortunately, Malcolm, I have not seen these, and I don't have any comments because I haven't seen anything, so I don't know. Is there anybody, actors or any directors that have popped up in any of this that you know of or recognize?
Oh, I don't. I didn't go into
Okay.
looking up these shorts. Like, I only knew about The Boy and the Mole because that's a big high profile one from the animated side. Like, but moving on, we've got for best sound, we've got All Quiet on the Western Front again, Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon, The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Pinocchio, Moonage Daydream, and Top Gun Maverick. This is an interesting bunch because war movies tend to do quite well in the sound category. So All Quiet on the Western Front, I would be shocked if it doesn't get nominated. But then again, anything with a concert situation as well,
Elvis
is all. So, well, yeah, you've got Elvis, and you've also got Moonage Daydream as well. So, so it's interesting. I don't know how well documentaries doing sound, but I think with Moonage Daydream being a like concert film, so kind of.
I didn't think the sound was that great in it, Malcolm. I mean, I watched it and I thought the sound was kind of a little off in it, but
Yeah,
maybe it's because of the documentary is so old. It's got like a lot of old footage to it. Maybe that's the reason. But I think this is Top Gun Mavericks to lose. I mean, it seems like an obvious winner in this, get it nominated and win because of the jets and the flying and making that sound so realistic and stuff. Like you said, All Quiet. Probably Avatar would probably slip in here too.
yeah. I mean, this is quite low key tough because like I do think Top Gun Maverick, All Quiet on the Western Front, I think they're probably getting in. And then anything else it's going to be like anything else is a bit of a mixed bag on if I want, because I'd like to see all these pop up, to be honest. But
It's tough to, tough to narrow this down to 5. They're all so good, you know?
yeah, and I mean, like talking about like Damien, like concert and stuff like that. Like I mean, I'm still yet to see Babylon. That comes out next week for me. But
It's got
like,
crazy sound at the beginning and the first
well, I mean,
second
yeah,
segments.
no, it's just one of those ones. Like from the trailers alone, like it's got a really good sound mix there. So it's gonna be interesting. Moving on, we've got visual effects. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, Jurassic World Dominion, Nope, 13 Lives, and Top Gun Maverick. So once again, I think Top Gun Maverick and All Quiet might make it in here, but
Avatar, definitely. But this looks like an Avatar category to me.
yeah, this is one of those ones because like say what you want about the movies, like I think the visual effects in Doctor Strange and Fantastic Beasts Secrets of Dumbledore are good.
Yeah, they are. I agree. I agree with that.
And even like Jurassic World Dominion. So once again, I think this is definitely an interesting one. 13 Lives is one of those ones that stands out to me as being a weird choice here because not because I think the movie.
I'll tell you something, Malcolm. And I don't mean to cut you off there, but I think what happened is when they were doing this, the scenes where they're showing the water, the people going underwater and doing the caves, they had to project certain things to look a certain way. So they probably had green screen in some of these areas. Like there was a scene where they're trying to take all the water to divert the water where it's not going down inside the cave. They're going into these fields and stuff. So there's probably there's a lot of subtle visual effects in 13 Lives. I just don't think that people realize. And I think I was listening to a Gold Derby interview with Ron Howard. I think he discusses that in his interview, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think he discusses that. So I think that's why that got in there. There's a lot of subtle visuals in 13 Lives. Very good movie, by the way.
Yeah. But now we're going to move on from the Oscar shortlist to the BAFTA long lists. And so going to start off with best film. And they've got a little bit of notes on this, like 10 movies were advanced in the best film category of 214. And so the long list for the best film is we've got After Sun, All Quiet on the Western Front, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Fabelmans, Living, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, and Triangle of Sadness. That's pretty much what I kind of expected. I think at the BAFTAs they only have 5 for best film. If I'm right, I don't think they've advanced to 10 for best film.
No, and I'll tell you right now, you can forget about Top Gun Maverick. Get that out of there. All right. Anything with an American flavor like that, you can forget about it, unless it's just such an overwhelming thing. You can almost guarantee After Sun's getting in here. All right. Banshees is getting in here. Triangle Sadness is getting in here. Possibly Everything Everywhere, because it's not American, it's Asian. Living. I will put money. I'm going to put my super bet, Malcolm. My super bet and my bet, I'm putting on those 5 right there. I haven't done my BAFTAs yet. I might do it after this. But you can almost guarantee them 5. What else is there besides Top Gun that I'm excluding?
Well, what I was about to say is this is going to be interesting because, like, in the BAFTAs, you got best film, but you've also got best outstanding British film too. So
yeah, I forgot about that.
So they may look at this going, well, this is nominated here, and like, it's a good British film. This is probably where Top Gun Maverick might slip in. So look, Top Gun Maverick is an amazing movie. And I'm not American. I think it's good. So I think Top Gun Maverick, is one that I think will probably get in just slightly. The Fabelmans, Everything Everywhere Once might make it in as well. It's just tough. Go ahead. Fabelmans is amazing. I think it deserves a lot.
I just think. I think there's enough British or foreign films, Malcolm, that I think they're going to try to slip some of those in, like the Triangle of Sadness, the After Suns, the Livings, the Banshees, type of films.
I mean, we'll get to that when we get to the next category. But it's just one of those ones, like, because like you've got best film and you've got outstanding British film, they may use this category to get some like movies that aren't always British movies. I don't know how much of a double up they have between best film and outstanding British film. So it's going to be interesting. And so moving on to outstanding British film, but After Sun, Banshees of Inisherin, Blue Jean, Brian and Charles, Emily, Empire of Light, Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, Lady Chatterley's Lover, Living, The Lost King, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, Matilda the Musical, See How They Run, The Swimmers, and The Wonder. Now, for British film, I think this is where After Sun, Banshees, and Living will probably get in.
Because that's the crossover. That's the crossover from the other list.
Yes, but it's one of those ones like, I think out of those 3, I think Banshees is the only one that would probably get into best film. But I think, this is going to be interesting because I think Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris is probably going to get in because
I think so.
I've heard a lot about that.
Oh, there's a groundswell behind that. I'm surprised that's not on in some costumes list. How did that not do? Did we do a costumes long list? How does that not get into costumes along with Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris? That's awful.
They
Go ahead.
they didn't do it. I don't think they had costume. They didn't have costumes in the Oscar shortlist.
Oh, okay. So it might
Some
actually get
reason,
a nomination.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, I've heard a lot about Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, as well. So
Emma
it was
Thompson's
definitely going to be.
really good in that. Go ahead.
But yeah, Dan, what are your thoughts about British film?
No, I mean, there's a crossover. There's a correlation. Living, After Sun, Banshees. That's the correlation. Now, you take, I'll tell you right now, I think Emily is fantastic. Also, there's some really good British films. Lady Chatterley's Lovers, not the best. I could see that missing. But I really enjoyed Emily. And it's just, I'm not going to get into it, but I think it's got a great performance from the lead actress in Emily. Also, Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. Emma Thompson's fantastic in that.
Yeah.
But I just think you got to look at the crossover here and say, okay, that those three are on that other list. So and then maybe you could slip in a Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris here and something else, maybe Emily or I heard The Swimmers wasn't good. I was going to watch The Swimmers, and somebody said, don't worry about watching The Swimmers. It's not that good. Now, the Wonder, is The Wonder, did you happen to say The Wonder in this list by chance?
Yeah, I did.
Now, The Wonder is very good, and it's got Florence Pugh in it, and I'll tell you right now, it's a very difficult subject matter. I could see The Wonder getting in here as well. With the other three in Paris and Mrs. Harris. That could be your 5. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's one of those ones. Like picking 5 out of this bunch is going to be interesting because, like as I said, like because there's 3 that is crossover between best film. It's going to be interesting to see if they, if at least one or two of them get nominated in best film, they decide to admit it here to try and give some love to some of these other British movies. So
good point. No, very valid point, Malcolm. Very valid point.
So I mean, it's just one of those ones that's definitely interesting. I've heard of Brian and Charles. Isn't that the movie about the guy who builds a robot?
Yeah, and it's good. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird, Malcolm. It's good, but it's a little bit weird. I mean, I definitely recommend seeing it, but once you see it, you're like, okay, I saw that. Now, what else can I see? Yeah, it's kind of one of those type of deals, you know.
Moving on, we've got the category for outstanding debut from a British writer, director, or producer. And nominated here we've got Aftersun, Blue Jean, Donna, Electric Melody, Emily, Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, Nothing Compares, Rebellion, See How They Run, and Wayfinder. See How They Run's popping up. This is the second time that popped up, and I think because I had a quick look at this when they were announced. I think it pops up again a few more times. But yeah, this is one that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think once again, like from what I've heard about Aftersun, I think that's probably going to get in here again. That's what you said about Emily. I think that's probably going to get in here as well. And Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, and See How They Run is really fun. So I think those 4 might pop up. The other 5th one, I don't know much about the other movies. But Dan, what are your thoughts here?
No, you're right. I think this seems like Charlotte Wells has got this in the bag with Aftersun to me, but it's a good little batch of films though. Actually, it's not a bad grouping of films for that category, and it could whoever gets the 5th one. You're right. See How They Run's probably in here. So, but I think Charlotte Wells, because she's crossing over into a lot of other like potential other award shows and things like that. I think she seems like the one that everybody really wants to reward, and everybody's got this love of Aftersun, and I think Aftersun's got this.
But yeah, moving on, we've got Film Not in English Language. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, Close, Corsage, Decision to Leave, EO, Holy Spider, The Quiet Girl, and Triple R. So this is basically the same list that's on the shortlist for the Oscars, with the exception of Triple R, which is different. I think BAFTAs, is different when it comes to how they nominate for English language, because I think they look at everything. I don't know, because but yeah. Anyway, I think once again, I think Triple R's getting in here. I think you're probably going to get All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentine 1985, Bardo, and maybe Decision to Leave. And it's going to make it interesting because this could be Triple R could win here and upset All Quiet on the Western Front here, when it's going to be potentially the front runner everywhere else. But Dan, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's good to see Triple R get in, and with the love all over the country, our country, and different places in the world, it would really help out its causes in the Oscars if the BAFTAs gave it that award there. I'm not saying there's going to be any correlation because it's not on the Oscars long list, but if it wins there in that category, it might cross over to where it might slip into Best Picture, which is a very long shot. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if it starts piling up the wins in various places, it might give it some momentum to get into the Academy Awards as a Best Picture contender and defy all the odds. So it's got to get in here and do good in the BAFTAs in international feature.
Yeah. But moving on, we've got documentary. We've got All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, A Bunch of Amateurs, Fire of Love, The Ghost of Richard Harris, Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen, A Journey, A Song, Louis Armstrong's Black and Blues, McEnroe, Moonage Daydream, and Navalny. And yeah, this is one that I think is probably not going to be similar to the Oscars, just because I think a lot of these British sounding documentaries might get in here, because I don't know what The Ghost of Richard Harris is. I would imagine it's a documentary that's about Richard Harris, unless it's so I think Richard Harris, Moonage Daydream, McEnroe.
He's a huge British.
Yeah, that's where I was getting with that. I think maybe Leonard Cohen and Fire of Love might get in. But Dan, what are your thoughts about documentary for the BAFTA side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I think Fire of Love is a film that takes place all over the world, and it's about these two people who go explore volcanoes. But Navalny isn't a European film, so even though it's on CNN, it's about Russia and about some things that happen in Russia. So that might be something that translates to the British Academy Awards, because it's a film that's about such a serious topic, and they're allies with us and so forth. Maybe that could slip in as far as like they want to get that political, put their political stance out there as far as we want this people to see this film. We want this film, Navalny, to get championed. And it was, oh my God, I can't believe what actually happened. And it was basically in real time. The documentary was going on like in real time. Very fascinating, Malcolm.
Yeah. But moving on from animated, and this is an interesting one because they've only got 8 on their long list, and apparently they only nominate 4. But you've got The Amazing Maurice, which opens up over here this week. Got The Bad Guys, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Lightyear, Marcel the Shell of Shoes On, Minions Rise the Group, Puss in Boots The Last Wish, and Turning Red. If I was hazard to guess to what's going to get nominated here, I'd say Pinocchio, Marcel, Puss in Boots, and Turning Red, if the only 4 are getting in. But that being said, I think The Amazing Maurice is a British animated movie, so that could knock out one of the 4 that's probably going to get in for the Oscars. So, Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. You hit the nail on the head, Malcolm. I think because I didn't know what the Amazing Maurice was. I have not seen the Amazing Maurice, so I don't. That seems like something that if they have nominated it, it's probably something that they're going to probably want to get in there. And one of the American films, or one of the, I think because Pinocchio is basically a European type film with ties to Italy and stuff like that, that might slip in there. Obviously, Marcel the Shell is a beautiful little film, but it doesn't. It ties to an American family, So I don't know if that would be the one. Turning Red is obviously about Asian girl and her family. Puss in Boots has got a lot of British people in it, and it's got Antonio Banderas. I get, because the big bad wolf is played by a guy named Wagner Moura. Sounds just like Benicio del Toro. But yeah, so I could see Puss in Boots getting in here, Turning Red, The Amazing Maurice, and Pinocchio. Those are the 4 I'm predicting to get in there.
Yeah. So I was just quickly looking, and it looks like The Amazing Maurice will probably is opening up for the States this year.
Okay.
Because I think the release date I see for it is in February. So, which means that if it's good, it could be eligible for the Oscars next year, which is one of those weird release date things. Like UK's movies always seem to come out a year before. So I think Paddington had the same issues.
Yeah, remember what was the one, the prison movie with what's her name? It didn't come out till the following year, and so she ends up getting God, what was the? I don't want to come across the wrong way.
Yeah, I don't remember the one you're talking about, but
somebody in the comments. Is there anybody listening out there? It's got what's her name? Damn it! Why can't I think of her name? Black actress. It's got Aldous Hodge in it. It's about a prison. That slipped into the British film the year after America.
Yeah.
And so it was on the British Academy Awards, and same thing, like Boiling Point. So they do have a different their schedule, or how they differentiate what's eligible, what's not eligible is a little bit different.
No, it's one of those ones, because I think if it's the same for any country. I think if it's released in the fiscal year for their country's awards and that, it's got to be eligible. So I think with BAFTA, I think as long as it's released in the UK in some form, then it's eligible. Which kind of surprises me that Tar's popping up.
Clemency. Clemency.
Yeah. But anyway,
Alfre Woodard. Clemency. I took a second for me to remember it, Malcolm.
Yeah, but with that being said, going to move on to director, and I'm going to read the note because the way they determine their long list is really interesting. Basically, they've got 16 movies on their long list for director, but members of the directing chapter vote to determine the long list of 10, 5 male and 5 female, of which the top 2 are nominated. And then the jury selects a further 3 male and 3 female to create a long list of 16. And the jury selects 4 directors from the long list to make up the nominee of 6 directors. So it sounds a bit confusing, but I mean, it's good to know that they want to actually try to be even when they determine on what makes a long list. And with that said, the 16 movies on the long list for directing is Aftersun, All Quiet on the Western Front, The Banshees of Inisherin, Corsage, Decision to Leave, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Fire of Love, The Quiet Girl, Saint Omar, She Said, Tar, Tool, Top Gun Maverick, The Woman King, and Woman Talking.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. to see Top Gun Maverick on the shortlist for directing.
Joseph Kaczynski, of all people, how did he get in there?
Oh no, it's just more the fact that to see it here in a British thing is interesting, which kind of made me wonder if he's actually really close to the. I mean, I don't think he's making the 5 for the Oscars. But I wouldn't be surprised if because of this he's really close to it.
I will tell you that. Good, you make a valid point there. You're touching on something there, Malcolm. You're touching on something. If he gets in here, and if you start seeing Top Gun Maverick pop up in a bunch of places, look out for Joseph Kaczynski over there at director, and that could be a big upset for him to get in there. And I'm not saying what he did wasn't good. He did. How do you pare to 800 hours of footage down to 2 hours and whatever for a movie? That is not easy to do. Then you get, I mean, all that aerial stuff you got to do to make that look amazing the way he did. So you got to give him a lot of credit for that. You can't take anything away from the guy. But I mean, if you're looking at women, Mac, I'm looking at the women group here. I'm saying they seem to want to put Charlotte Wells in there a lot with After Sun, so you can almost guarantee her in there. You probably can get the director of Till in there, and probably Sarah Polley from Women Talking, unless because I think Sarah, that's more of a British because of the cast and stuff. Maybe it's more of a British production. You might be able to get them 3 in there. And then,
yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting because it's like, especially just looking at the European side, like you could get the director of All Quiet West of Front in there as well, which is definitely going to make things interesting. And
well, you got to get. You would think Martin McDonagh is a lock to get in, right? You would think.
I mean, if he can't get in, I mean, I'm going to say it. If he can't get in the BAFTAs, what chances does he have of getting the Oscars?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But you're right. All Quiet on the Western Front director could slip in here in director. I think this is something we need to look more at. And me and you're always bantering about what things they need to change about the Academy Awards, what things. If 5 men get in there, all right, they're going to be looking at the BAFTAs and say the BAFTAs are ahead of the game on this type of thing. And they're going to say, why can't the Academy Awards do something like this?
Well, I mean, to be fair, we don't know how the Oscars sort out their shortlist and that. Because, I mean, they don't publish their shortlist for directors. So, for all we know, that they may go, well, do nominate like 2 male, 2 female to put in the shortlist, and yeah, it's one of those weird ones. Yeah, I mean, I'd get your point.
But also, I forgot. What didn't you say? The Woman King was in this mix too. I love
the Woman King. The Woman King is in the mix.
Gina Prince Blythewood is a good director, so. This could be an interesting grouping of women and men who slip in here and who get knocked out. It's not going to be easy to predict. The BAFTAs, I'm going to have to predict these, and I don't know how the hell I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Moving on to original screenplay, we've got After Sun, Banshees of Inisherin, Decision to Leave, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, The Menu, Tar, Triangle of Sadness. I'm really happy to see The Menu get some love. Honestly, I think the way they design that script, I think it's just amazing. So I kind of want to see that get it in here. Decision to Leave is another one that could end up being another foreign movie that gets a lot of love everywhere.
Great script.
But if I was to guess, I'd say once again, I think Banshees of Inisherin, After Sun, I think they're probably the 2 British ones that are going to come up a lot.
The
Fabelman.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Fableman's Everything Everywhere All at Once might get in here, but this is one of the BAFTAs is one of those instances. Are they going to go for the more British nominations, or are they going to go for the ones that are going to pop up in the Oscars?
They're going to go for the British people, and Charlotte Wells, Martin McDonagh are going to get in there, and they might go for a little bit of a European flavor. So, and Everything Everywhere could get in, something like that. But this is going to be, if Martin McDonagh, you said it before, if he can't win this, and he can't get in some of these other categories, Banshees does. And if Banshees goes and gets in a bunch of these, that even does Banshees much more of a great job or a solid, because then you say, okay, if they're rewarding Banshees so much, that's a good sign for Martin McDonagh. And everybody is predicting Martin McDonagh to win screenplay all over the place. So, he isn't guaranteed director in some places, but he's getting a lot of love for screenplay. Because there's, we always like to play this game, Malcolm, where, if we give him screenplay, we can give the Daniels director, and then both of them can win. We can give this one actor and that one actor, and this one, you know what I mean? Every year we like to play those types of games,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This is one of those cases where I think if Aftersun and Banshees both make directing and screenplay, then I think you could see one of them in directing, the other one's original screenplay there. Because it's one of those ones like we don't know for sure if Everything Everywhere is going to get in here in either directing or thing. But it's all like the BAFTAs are going to do what the BAFTAs do, and
yeah.
and
you hit the nail on the head, Malcolm. You hit the nail on the head. The BAFTAs are going to do what the BAFTAs do, and it's going to be something crazy. You know that.
But moving on, we've got adapted screenplay. We've got in the long list, we've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Living, The Quiet Girl, She Said, Top Gun Maverick, The Whale, Woman Talking, and The Wonder. I think once again, I think All Quiet might get in here, but I think Living and The Wonder are probably definite because they're Britishy.
Oh yeah, you nailed it, Malcolm.
And honestly, I'd be surprised if Top Gun Maverick managed to get into to adapted screenplay on the British side of things.
I just want to do can I just do a little bit of a nitpick here, Malcolm? Look, they're calling Glass Onion adapted because, there was already a movie called Knives Out, and this is Glass Onion and Knives Out. So they want to put Rian Johnson in a different category. I good job. But I'll tell you right now, he's got to get in. He's got to get in. And then the other one is Top Gun adapted because Top Gun Maverick is the second it's a sequel. Why is it adapted? It's just a sequel. It's 36 years difference. I don't know. Well, but those are just nitpicks, Malcolm. Just nitpicks,
that's the thing, Liz. I think I had the same discussion when Logan was nominated for adapted screenplay. I think if it's at least based on the characters from a previous movie, whether it's a sequel or a follow-on, then I think it's enough to be counted as adapted. Because I think if Glass Onion wasn't following Benoit Blanc and they put a different detective in there, it would be original easily. But I think because Benoit Blanc, it's still based on characters from Top Gun, based on characters from a character from Knives Out. I think that's why they end up in adapted.
I got you. I completely understand. It was just a little bit of a nitpick, but you're right. Wonder, Living, and Aftersun, you could always guarantee them in here.
But yeah, moving on to leading actress. You've got on the shortlist of this, you've got Naomi Ackie for I Want to Dance with Somebody, Anna de Armas in Blonde, Kate Blanchett for Tar, Jessica Chastain for The Good Nurse, Viola Davis for The Woman King, Danielle Deadwyler in Tool, Leslie Manville for Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, Emma Thompson for Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, Michelle Williams in The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. But yeah, I mean, this is easily still Kate Blanchett's to lose. But this is one of those ones that I think they could go super British here because I think Kate Blanchett is probably a lock to get in regardless. But I think Leslie Manville, Emma Thompson are probably could get in.
Yep.
I believe Anna de Armas is British as well.
She's Cuban,
and
Brazilian.
Yeah, but it's one of those ones like, because once again, despite what you want to say about the movie, it's definitely not that good. Very exploitative. But Anna de Armas is great as Marilyn Monroe. I'd like to see her get some recognition for that at least. And I don't know if you've seen I Want to Dance with Somebody, Dan, but Naomi Ackie was great as portraying Whitney Houston.
Look, I saw that was the last movie I officially saw in 2022, and I thought it was a fantastic film. But the thing I really thought was fantastic that really made it much better than it could have been, because it was kind of a paint by numbers biopic. But what really stood out for me, Malcolm, was the lip syncing and the hand gestures and the mouth movement and the throat and the eyes of Naomi Ackie actually looking like she was singing. And I listened to a couple interviews and they talk about the lip syncing, because now this is how you lip sync. Rami Malek, you could have learned something from this woman, because people were walking out of that screening, Malcolm, thought that was her singing those songs. And I said, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That is Whitney Houston. There's only one Whitney Houston. And if you don't know what Whitney Houston's voice sounds like, I don't know what to say. But she did such a good job of lip syncing and hand gestures and eyes and throat that it looked like she was singing the songs. That's how good a job she was. And it made that movie that much better, even though it was kind of a paint by numbers musical biopic. They didn't really do anything different than a normal musical biopic. Not like Elvis, which was different. It was a different way to do a musical biopic. Elvis was, but and Rocket Man, I thought was really a great way to do a biopic as well. But yeah, Leslie Manville, Emma Thompson, Kate Blanchett. I'd slip in Michelle Yeoh. I think Michelle Yeoh has got to get in here. She's going to get in the Oscars. She's got to get in here, and she's got to do well in some of these other places. You know what I mean, Malcolm?
I mean, I get that, but I think it's one of those ones like, because once again, I think BAFTAs is one of those ones that probably has the least correlation with the Oscars a lot of times when it comes to actually what's in the nominations. So I think even if Michelle Yeoh misses here, I think she still slides into the Oscar 5.
What do you think? Because you're a big Fabelmans supporter. What do you think about Michelle Williams getting in here?
I mean, I thought Michelle Williams was great in the Fabelmans. Like,
I loved her.
And it's one of those ones like, because it's one of those ones when you're in this ensemble cast, it's really hard to pick out leads in that. I'm not saying that Michelle Williams is the lead of the Fabelmans, but I think she's definitely she's in it enough to be a leading in the leading category for the Fabelmans.
That's why. My thing is what Leslie Manville, Emma Thompson, Kate Blanchett. I'm saying Michelle Yeoh. You're saying Michelle Williams. Who would be our fifth then, huh?
I mean, as I said, I think Anna de Armas is could get in because I mean because I think she yes, she may have been she may be Cuban and that's where she's born, but I think she's still sort of British, as in the residency side of things. I think that's where she resides. But again, I'm not too sure. I don't know. I don't know Anna de Armas personally, but if she wants to reach out and we can talk, then. But moving on to leading actor, we've got Austin Butler for Elvis, Tom Cruise for Top Gun Maverick, Harris Dickinson for Triangle of Sadness, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Daniel Kaluuya for Nope, Felix Camera in All Quiet on the Western Front, Dale McCormick for Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, Paul Mescal in After Sun, and Bill Nighy for Living. Once again, I think it's actually tough because I think Austin Butler is probably could get in here.
I think he's going to get in.
Well, yeah. Well, no, it's one of those ones like I'm so confident that Austin Butler's getting in for the Oscars. This is one where they could go completely British here because actually I don't know, but because Brendan Fraser could still get in for The Whale, but then I think Dale McCormick, Paul Mescal, Bill Nighy, and Colin Farrell, all British, I think could round out that 5.
Yeah, they're not going to put Harris Dickinson in there. I mean, how they put him on that long list, I don't know. But I mean, he was okay. But Bill Nye, Colin Farrell, who else? What was the other one? Paul Mescal. Them 3, you can almost guarantee are getting in there. And then you might be able to fill out that 5 with Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser. That's probably your 5 right there. I might put my my bet, my 100-point bet on that category right there. Austin Butler, Brendan Fraser, Paul Mescal, Bill Nye, and Colin Farrell. That might be my 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those interesting things because, like, I think just because it's the BAFTAs, if Austin Butler does end up missing, I think it's going to be Dale McCormick for good Leo Grande that's going to get in that 5th spot. But yeah,
he's good. He's really good. I mean, Daryl McCormick is really good, but I think he doesn't have the different kind of levels. He doesn't go to the levels that Emma Thompson goes in that movie. But you never know. He could get in there.
I mean, the one that will surprise me if the BAFTAs actually get him in there because is Tom Cruise. It'll be interesting. But once again, like BAFTAs may nominate Tom Cruise to see if he'll come to England to go to their ceremony.
Wow. You know what? You hit the nail on the head. You hit it. You kind of tell you what, Malcolm. They like getting a few big name people over there at their ceremony. They had the Joaquin Phoenixes, the Leo DiCaprios in the past, and some of these big name American people. What a crazy scenario if they put Tommy Cruise in their 5. And then he shows up at the Royal Albert Hall to get nominated. That'd be because we all know his situation with the Golden Globes, but he doesn't have that situation with the BAFTAs. So has he been, I know you're busy doing a lot. Has he been nominated for BAFTAs in the past?
As far as I know, he hasn't. But once again, it's been big mostly because BAFTAs typically go for the British people. So
yeah.
But anyway, moving on to supporting actress, got Angela Bassett for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Hong Chow for The Whale, Kerry Condon for Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, no Stephanie Zhu though, Dolly De Leon for Triangle of Sadness, Lashana Lynch in The Woman King, Janelle Monáe for Glass Onion Knives Out Mystery, Carey Mulligan for She Said, Emma Thompson in Matilda the Musical, Amy Lou Wood in Living. So Emma Thompson could be double nominated at the BAFTA. So that's crazy to think about.
They love her though. They love her. That's their darling. She's their darling over there. But I'll tell you, you can keep an eye on Lashana Lynch because she's British, and that would be a great place for her to pop up. Obviously, Dolly De Leon Carrie Condon. You might as well lock them in there. I would put, Lashana Lynch, Emma Thompson, Dolly De Leon, Carrie Condon, and maybe a Hong Chow, but I forget. You said there was a girl from Living. I forget. So they
Amy
sometimes,
Lou Wood.
yeah, they sometimes will put people nobody ever heard of in their nominations, BAFTAs. Sometimes that happens.
That's the thing. Like Amy Lou Wood is British, so I think that could be a good way. And in saying that, it's a good way to get some notice on them. As well, like people may not know who they are, like, and it might help them maybe get nominated in the Oscars if the BAFTAs I don't know if the BAFTAs nominations come out before the Oscars or after. I'm not sure which order those things are happening, but yeah.
Well, the 24th is the Oscars. That's all I know. I don't know when the BAFTAs is. I would imagine they always like to get all the precursors out of the way first before they do the Academy Award nomination. So I would imagine it's before, but that's just a speculation on my part.
Yeah, but moving on to supporting actor, we've got Brendan Gleeson for Banshees of Inisherin, Tom Hanks for Elvis, Woody Harrelson for Triangle Sadness, Barry Keoghan for Banshees of Inisherin, Brad Pitt for Babylon, Ke Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse, Albrecht Schuck for All Quiet on the Western Front, Michael Ward for Empire of Light, and Ben Whishaw for Women Talking. So I mean, I think Ben Whishaw might sneak in here, but just because of the British side of things. But yeah, this is interesting because I think you got Ben Whishaw, and I think you've got the two from Banshees maybe popping up. But then the other two spots are a bit of a mixed bag of what could pop up. Is Ke Quan could get in, and I think if he's and I think I think either Brad Pitt or Tom Hanks may get in, but I don't know much about either that or the guy from All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name again. But Dan, what are your thoughts about supporting actor?
I think you nailed it, Malcolm. You nailed the five right there. The guy from All Quiet on the Western Front, Ke Quan, both of the guys from Banshees of Inisherin, and what was the other one?
Ben Whishaw.
Ben Whishaw. Now, if they want to show a love for Women Talking, which has not been getting a lot of love a lot of places, this is the place for Women Talking to get some love. And Ben Whishaw has got to get in there. If not, one of the big names is going to get in there, Tom Hanks or Brad Pitt. They want either Tom Hanks, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise to show up at their ceremony. You got to get some of these guys in, you know?
Yeah. The other thing that could happen is both Brendan and Barry split the vote for Banshees and both somehow miss.
No way. There's no way, Malcolm. I love you to death, buddy. There is no way them two are splitting any votes. They're both getting it.
But yeah, no, it's just one of those. I'm looking at the possibilities here. But as well as going with is like Eddie Redmayne could sneak in as well because he's another British guy.
He is British, but that's an American film. And you make a valid point. Maybe one of the Banshees boys gets in, and then Eddie Redmayne slips in there. But because it's an American film and it's on Netflix, I just don't see Eddie getting in. But he's been popping up places, man. He's been popping up in these long lists. I'm like, what is going on with this? Because have you seen The Good Nurse?
I haven't got around to it yet, but yeah.
He kind of is emotionless, really. I mean, he really doesn't show a lot of emotions. I don't know. I guess people think it's a good performance. I don't know. It just seems a little bit out there for me.
All art is subjective. Moving on to a category. Moving on to casting. And the nominations we have is After Sun, All Quiet on the Western Front, Banshees, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Living, Matilda the Musical, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. Any thoughts here for casting?
I'll tell you what. you got to give the casting director of Triangle of Sadness some freaking love, man. That what a wild group of people that they assembled for that movie. Woody Harrelson is the ship's captain, and Dolly De Leon, and some of these Russian manure people, and I mean, some wild characters in that movie. How they came up, the director or the casting director came up with that group of people, I'll never know. But that was a wild cast there. But I mean, I don't know what I could say about. I mean, much about cast. I mean, you didn't get like a glass onion in here. That is a phenomenal cast. A Woman King would be another one with a great cast. You know, Everything Everywhere All at Once, but they're not in here. So I mean, I don't know what to say about a lot of these. They're kind of smaller casts, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, the one I will probably shout out, even though there's a bunch of like unknowns, I think the casting from Matilda musical probably has to get some props here, because to find a whole bunch of talented kids who can sing and dance is not an easy task, especially when that's the majority of your cast.
Yeah, good point. I haven't seen it yet. It's on Netflix. I haven't seen it yet, Malcolm. I gotta watch it.
But moving on, we've got cinematography. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Amsterdam, Athena, Babylon, Banshees of Inisherin, The Batman, Elvis, Empire of Light, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. I mean, I don't really have a lot to say on cinematography. The exception of Athena, which is a movie I'm not really heard of. I think this a lot of these is most of the usual things I expect to see on a long list for this. But Dan, what are your thoughts?
You got Top Gun Maverick, you got Banshees, you got the Batman, you got Everything Everywhere All at Once, and what? I got 5 here. If it's a 5 category, I can nail this down to 5 right now. The cinematography category here, it seems pretty obviously what the 5 are, and I just named 4 of them right there.
Yeah.
But I love the cinematography in Banshees and the Batman. I was glad to see the Batman get in for cinematography, because Greg Fraser, man, he's killing it right now. He already won an Oscar for Dune. He just filmed Dune Part 2. He did the Batman. I mean, he's on a roll right now.
But moving on to costume design, we've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Amsterdam, Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Corsage, Elvis, Glass Onion, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, Matilda the Musical. So I think Black Panther Wakanda Forever is probably getting in here. I don't know what corsage is, but it sounds like a costume type of term. So a film about costume will probably get into costume. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, like as Dan mentioned, will probably get in here. Like the way they recreated Elvis's looks, and Elvis is perfect, so I'm gonna go there. And then I'm probably hesitant to go to All Quiet on the Western Front, just because like just the way they did all the uniforms and that. But Amsterdam and Babylon, their costumes are great as well, so it's tough for me. Dan, what are your thoughts on costume?
No, you really did a good job of picking Elvis. Elvis, the costumes are amazing. There's no doubt about the costumes, and Elvis are amazing. Obviously, Mrs. Harris is about fashion design, so you'd think they would go with the costumes in Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. I'm telling you right now, the costumes in Corsage are amazing, and it is about a period piece princess or queen in some like Eastern European country or whatever. So a lot of dresses and a lot of just really, really fancy clothes. But also when you have to recreate World War II costumes, Malcolm, and you have to make them look authentic to the time of World War I, I should say. World War I, not World War II. I think you could make a legit shot at All Quiet on the Western Front getting into costumes, because a lot of them, there's quite a bit of them, and they're all period piece costumes back to World War One. And so I think you could get that in here, because that's a lot of work for the people, and they had to make those period costumes to that period of time, early 1900s. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see a Batman get in here, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. The Batman wasn't even on the long list, so I think it's one of those ones. I think
That's what I'm saying. It's nuts.
I mean, I
ahead.
think when it
Go ahead.
comes to the Batman, I think some people's like, it's been done before. It's like, well, yes, the Batman suits and like all that are different from what you've seen in other ones, but people are probably like, it's Batman. It's like, there's only so many ways you can design the suit. Like,
That's not the only thing about it, though, Malcolm. Look at Catwoman. Look at the Penguin. Look at the Riddler. Look at various people's suits and ties and the clothes that they wear at the funeral and all the different things, parties and all that. A lot of different types of clothing. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think it's just one of those ones like, when it comes to the costuming and especially when it comes to superhero movies in general, I think anything that's been done multiple times, like the Batman, people are going to look, even though like some of the costumes for other characters are different to what you may have seen in the past. I think people like a lot of them have been sort of designed that way in other places before or been very close to that before. So I think it's just one of those ones. I think it's really hard for superheroes to get repeat nominations in costume design at all. And I think the only reason Black Panther Wakanda ever maybe snuck in here is because of the costumes for Namor's people and all that. And maybe even Shuri's suit, which is a different type of design than what they did for T'Challa. But moving on to editing. For editing, we've got Aftersun, All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, Banshees of Inisherin, Decision to Leave, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Moonage, Daydream, Top Gun Maverick, and Triangle of Sadness. I am slightly surprised that Batman did not make it here, but that being said, I still think this is a good bunch of nominations. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Aftersun has got good editing. Elvis, very good, fast-paced editing. Baz Luhrmann does that editing, man. It's just he doesn't mess around, and that's some really good, flashy editing in Elvis. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. To me, Malcolm, is the type of film you'd think would be in editing, and it's like, because there's a lot of crazy editing in that, why wasn't that here,
Yeah, it's one of those ones I actually didn't pick up on the fact that it wasn't here. But
obviously the jet flying and the dog fighting. That obviously is phenomenal editing. It's probably going to win editing here, more than likely. Go ahead.
I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once is here. I did say that, didn't I?
Oh, you did? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to put everything Top Gun at the top of the list of potential editing noms here at the BAFTAs, and then you probably got to do Elvis as a third. But Aftersun had some good editing. I mean, I don't know what you're going to put at 5 or 4. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they won't put Aftersun. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine if Aftersun is getting anywhere for editing, it's probably going to be the BAFTAs.
Yeah.
But moving
Banshees
on,
had a lot of slow editing. I mean, I like the pace of Banshees, but I didn't think the editing was all that flashy. You know what I mean? Have you seen it yet?
I haven't got around to seeing it.
Okay.
But moving on to makeup and hairstyling, it's basically the same as what was in the Oscar shortlist, but we've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Amsterdam, Babylon, The Batman, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Blonde, Elvis, Emancipation, The Whale, and Matilda the Musical popped up in it as well, which I think is purely what they did to, once again, it's going to be interesting because you could have two actors really transformed by fat suits and prosthetics, because you got Emma Thompson as Trunchbull in Matilda the Musical, and you've got Brenda Fraser in The Whale. So I think both of those are probably going to get in, and then into here. Then the other three spots is probably going to be, once again, a mixed bag of anything else that's here. Dan, what are your thoughts on makeup and hairstyling?
Yeah, you know what my thoughts are on Wakanda Forever. I think the cinematography really clouds a lot of what the Telecons look like. And I think the makeup could be really jump out in that film if the cinematography was better. You know what I mean? And the costumes could jump out if the cinematography was better. And I think the bad cinematography, in my opinion, really clouds the makeup in a lot of scenes, because especially they're at night, they're at night a lot of the times. And then, so I don't see where Wakanda can get in here, but you're right. I haven't seen Matilda yet, but The Whale is probably, The Whale, I'm glad to see Emancipation getting in some places in some below the line categories like makeup, because the makeup on Will Smith in that movie, oh man, to show all the scars on his back and stuff, Emancipation, very good job. And then Batman, obviously the Penguin he looks amazing. You can't even tell it's Colin Farrell. So
yeah, it's one of those things I don't know when it comes to the costume and that. I think it's one of those ones. I think because I get your point about, like, sometimes movie cinematography tends to cover up the makeup a lot, but what I think they do is I don't know if it's true, but what they might do is they might take like still images of the makeup and that and send those through to the things, rather than having the makeup branch try to watch a movie, try to pick out the makeup and hairstyle that they've done, because I think that's probably the better way to do it, because there's a lot of movies where the cinematography tends to cover the makeup and hairstyles. Let's be honest, I don't think not many people really knows the makeup and hairstyling unless it's pointed out.
yeah, no, you make a good point. They could probably just send stills of what the characters and the people look like, and then hey, you could, based off these stills, judge, and that could be it. But I would hope that people would see the makeup and hairstyling and the costumes and these things in the actual live while watching the movie. You would think they would watch these movies, Malcolm, and say, okay, this is the costume and the hairstyling within the context of the movie, or the makeup in the context of the movie. You would think that's what if I'm voting in these types of things, I'm watching the movies and seeing how it looks while I'm watching the movie. That's just me.
I'm not suggesting they don't watch the movies. They probably do watch the movies as well. But when it comes to voting, they probably, just to remind them of the makeup, they probably get sent like still images as well. I'm not trying to suggest people don't watch the movies for these award shows. But moving on, we've got the best original score. And we've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, Banshees and Inisherin, The Batman, Empire of Light, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Glass Onion and Knives Out, Mystery, Pinocchio, Tart, what I'm talking, and The Wonder. So I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off here, because maybe the Batman score just didn't resonate with the Oscars voters at all, and that's why it missed there, because it clearly resonated with the BAFTAs when it's called original scores. So, but Dan, what are your thoughts on the BAFTAs lineup for score?
Well, you got Hilda Gudendauer in here for Tar, and everybody's complaining, well, she didn't really do that. That's Leonard, that's Mahler and all this stuff. But she did a lot of things that are so under the radar within the context of the score that it's really good. Did you say Women Talking as well?
Yeah.
And she did that one as well. So you could get Hilda Gudendauer in here twice, but I don't think she's going to get in for Tar, because people are complaining about how they're trying to give her credit for stuff that Mahler did. And no one's trying to give her credit for stuff that Mahler did. She did a lot of little nuanced things within the context of the score, with people playing music and doing stuff. So it's hard to recognize what she actually did in there. But I think she's got a legit shot. It seems like everybody's championing her in for women talking. And you know how much I love the score in the Batman. Just that dun 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 dun. It's just like this really dramatic kind of music, Malcolm. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, you know. But there's not a lot of scores this year that have jumped out at me. You know what I mean? And I know you're a fan of the Fablemans, John Williams, but did that get in here?
That didn't. I was going to bring that up. I mean, it's one of those ones like I'm not over surprised because John Williams is American, and the BAFTAs probably want to sort of highlight people that like, because you got the Alexander Desplat for Pinocchio, and there you got I don't know who did the score for the one. I haven't seen it yet either. But, so I mean, it's going to be interesting because yeah, I mean, and as for Holder, I don't like. I think it's very rare that you're going to get a double up of the same composer for different movies. So I think only one of them will kind of do it, and I think more people. Ironically, I think more people are talking about women talking than the Tar.
Yeah,
I mean, and it's just one of those ones like, so I think it depends on how much of the score. So I think maybe BAFTAs and the Oscars have different sort of qualifications for how much of the score has to be original for it to count.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean it's just one of those things.
It's probably All Quiet on the Western Front. Probably might slip in here. Pinocchio, you hit the nail on the head. Definitely, Pinocchio score is very good. So those are some that probably get in here.
But yeah, Pinocchio's been popping up everywhere. Banshees, I think, is popping up everywhere for score. And yeah, it's tough, especially with the BAFTA, because I think only half of these made it onto the Oscar shortlist, which is going to make things interesting. Moving on to production design, got All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, Babylon, Banshees, The Batman, Elvis, Empire of Light, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, and Pinocchio.
That's a rough group. That's a rough group right there, Malcolm.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. But look, and I think it's one of those ones. I think The Fablemans, like the production design in that, is really good because, like we've had this discussion when it comes to production design before, but to recreate like movie theaters, like the office of John Ford and like stuff like that, is not an easy task to do. So I think, and that it does deserve some recognition there. But as for sort of what else could make it in, I've got no idea because I think for the same as Elvis could do it. Like I love Avatar.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I love Avatar, but I don't know if I'd put it up for production design personally, but I think it might. But Dan, what are you about to say?
I would say that's more visual effects, don't you think, with Avatar and more than production design? But like recreating the venues and the places in Las Vegas and those places and Elvis, along with the costumes and stuff, it really helps bring that film to life. And Baz Luhrmann's really good about that sort of stuff. The atmosphere, creating the atmosphere around the characters in the movie. And so you're kind of it's all inclusive. I love the look of Batman. You know me, I'm a big Batman fan. If you're going to do production design, you got to put Everything Everywhere All at Once in here. I mean, that production design is amazing. All the different places. Obviously, it's the tax office. A lot of it's the tax office, but it's the variations of the different places that they, different worlds that they're in as well. But no, I was thinking about the production design regarding Fablemans after we talked about it, and I'm thinking about to make Steven Spielberg's apartments and houses and the place he lived and that sort of stuff look so authentic and hear him talk about. I mean, that's That's pretty good. I mean, I gotta give it to you on that one. I mean, it's subtle. It's not gonna blow you away kind of production design, but it's pretty damn hard to go back 50, 60, 70 years and find this, make the stuff look like how he was when he was growing up as a kid, and that does deserve credit, Malcolm.
Yeah, and I think it's, and I mean, I think it's one of those ones because it's production design. I think is a difficult one to determine on how they determine because it's probably mostly about the sets. Like it's probably it's not going to be. I don't think it's the mix of like costumes that, because that will kind of negate the need for a costume on its own category and all that. So I think it's just looking at the sets. I get your point about Avatar. It's kind of why I think it's probably not going to make it in. But in saying that, it depends on sort of if CGI sets, because, well, yes, a lot of the Avatar is the visual effects, and that's the next one we're going to after this. But I think the way they designed those sets, and whether or not they brought to life through visual effects or not, it's still incredible. Like someone still had to sit and design it on a bit of paper as well. So there's that too.
Good point. Valid point.
But moving on to visual effects, we've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore, Pinocchio, Jurassic World Dominion, Top Gun Maverick. Look, I like Pinocchio. To me, that's a weird one to pop up in visual effects. Like, well, yes, it's an animated movie. I believe it's stop motion. I'm not 100% sure on that.
It is.
But still, I mean, it's one of those ones that it's just weird to put like something like that in visual effects where it's more about the way that it's animated. But that being said, if I was to pick, like, I'd say Fantastic Beasts is pretty safe here for on the BAFTA side, at least, just because it's a British movie. Like I'd say maybe Avatar: The Way of Water will probably get in here. I think Doctor Strange and maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then maybe All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't know, but what are your thoughts about visual effects?
Well, I'll tell you once again. We talked about it with 13 Lives. It's a subtle visual effects in the background of the stop motion animation that's going on. That is what ends up getting the backgrounds of these scenes within these scenes of the stuff in Pinocchio, and that's what kind of got people looking at Pinocchio as a very good visual effects film. But you kind of got to go for the big boys, Fantastic Beasts, Top Gun Maverick, Avatar: The Way of Water. I think I see one of the Marvel movies getting in here. I think you're right. Not that Doctor Strange is great visual effects, but it's better, in my opinion, than Wakanda Forever. And there was that scene at the beginning where they're jumping and fighting the red bands of Cyttorak or whatever. I love that scene. And then they're fighting the big eye guy. That was kind of cool. There's some really cool stuff with the visual effects in Multiverse of Madness. And of course, that's just wild what they do. And they do it with like half the budget, less than half the budget, and Everything Everywhere All at Once. So you probably got to give them a little bit of credit for making that film look so good under the amount of money that it costs to make it compared to the other multiverse movie. But you're right, British, they're going to go for Fantastic Beasts. And I'll tell you what, Fantastic Beasts looked gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. This third one did. Batman, a lot of green screen, so there's like stuff in the background, fires and stuff like that. So a lot of hidden visuals there. So I could see Batman getting in, but I think you kind of nailed that 4 or 5 there that could get in here.
Yeah. And the last one that is here, because I'm not going to bother talking about the the shorts, because once again, when it comes to British shorts, I have no idea about any of them at all anyway. But moving on to sound, we've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon, The Batman, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Pinocchio, Tar, 13 Lives, Top Gun Maverick. So I will point out it's interesting that 13 Lives did not get into visual effects, but it got into sound, and yet I believe this is the opposite way of the Oscars. I think it didn't get in the sound, but you got visual effects. So it's one of those interesting things I've found, but it's pretty much the usual suspects. We said it before when we did sound before, but it's hard to predict. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, but you're going to take the war thing. I mean, you're always going to gravitate to things when it has to do with war. And you got jets flying, fighting, dog fighting and stuff. Those sounds are just amazing. Then obviously you got a World War I movie and All Quiet on the Western Front. Those seems like the front runners in sound to me. You know, if you go back through history, I think films that had nominees that had a war film in there probably did pretty good, you know. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, those seem like the obvious picks to me. Yeah, and Elvis, like I said, you're creating the sound in these venues. You're creating the music and him singing and all that stuff. So that's got to be a lot of sound in there. And Tar, you got her doing a lot of composing, a lot of stuff, that types of stuff. So maybe you got some different kinds of sounds in those films, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. I think we've said it. I think we've said it before, because I think like the two that did do quite well when it comes to sound categories is concert movies and war like biopics and war movies. Like they tend to do a lot.
Yeah. And recreate the sound, the crowds and stuff in Elvis, you know, with the people, you know, how they show the people's faces and then they start getting up when he's gyrating, you know, that stuff is that's subtle sound, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, that's the long list. I'm just biding my time by trying to find something. I'm going to save the other guilds for next week, just because I didn't anticipate how long the list actually were. But I will. But because today is the Golden Globes, we will do predictions for what we think is going to win, just because still got a little bit of time and a little bit over. Because I want to try and keep these to at least 2 hours. That's so. But predicting the winners won't take long, realistically. Those. But so gonna
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
How about we do, and we could do this really quick, Malcolm. Who we think is going to win and who we want to win in every category. Boom, boom, boom. We can move through these really quick. It's a suggestion. If you don't want to do it that way, that's fine by me.
I mean, however you want to determine it is up to you. If you want to bring up who you think should and who won't, I probably won't, but yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm just.
Let me pull up. I gotta pull up my. I gotta pull up my BAFTAs. My Golden Globes real quick here. Let me.
Yeah. It's what I'm doing too. Because I thought I'd filled it in before, but maybe I didn't.
Golden Globes. Film edit. I'm just gonna show that. Let's see. All right, here we go. Gold Derby The old reliable Gold Derby. All right, I'm ready to go if you are.
Right. Yeah. So for best film drama, we've got Top Gun Maverick, The Fablemans, Elvis, Avatar: The Way of Water, and Tar. Dan, who do you think will win? And
Well, I think it's going to be the Fablemans. I mean, I'd be blown away if Elvis found a way to win this, but something tells me hope it's not going to be Top Gun Maverick. Hope it's not going to be but Fablemans, I think, is going to win. What I want to win, would love to see win, because I just want to see some upsets or whatever, is Elvis.
Yeah, I mean, it's one that I'm not confident to change my Gold Derby, but so I'm going to stick with what I've got, partly because I think it's probably a little bit too late to change now, but yeah, I've officially got Top Gun Maverick. I think that will win, because I think that is the big favorite. But in saying that, I wouldn't hate it if the Fablemans pull it out, because I think it's a really good movie.
And you got to put in the Tom Cruise effect. You got to remember, Malcolm, you got to put in that Tom Cruise effect. Do they want to reward a movie with Tom Cruise after?
Well, here's the thing. Because I think if they're really upset about Tom Cruise, they wouldn't have nominated Top Gun Maverick in the first place. I think, yeah, because Tom Cruise missed out on drama actor, so I think it's possible that I think Top Gun Maverick is one of those movies that rolled the entire world. So I think that has a good shot of pulling out the win.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
But moving on to drama actress, we've got Olivia Colman, Viola Davis, Michelle Williams, Ana de Armas, and Cate Blanchett. And yeah, I think this is easily Cate Blanchett's to lose. She's been the favorite all through award season. I wish Tar had been released in New Zealand because I actually watched it. But Dan, what are your thoughts on drama actress?
Agree 100%. Cate Blanchett all the way. She doesn't have anybody in her way. Michelle Williams is really good in Fablemans, but she ain't going to beat Cate Blanchett. Neither is Viola Davis.
I mean, I think this is one that if there is an upset, here, I think it's probably going to be Ana de Armas, because I think she is equally amazing in Blonde as Marilyn Monroe, and because that's the thing. The voters, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here anyway. But moving on to drama actor, got Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Bill Nighy for Living, Austin Butler for Elvis, Hugh Jackman for The Sun, Jeremy Pope for The Inspection. Dan, who do you have to win here?
Oh yeah, you got to go with Brendan Fraser. I'll be honest, I think everybody in this category is fantastic. I don't have anything bad to say about any of these guys, but the narrative is just so going in favor of Brendan Fraser right now. He's got to win this, and even though he's not going to accept, he's still going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one that I definitely think Brendan Fraser is winning here. And it's one of those ones yes, I guess he's good in it. I haven't seen The Whale and that, but I think it's could be more that the Golden Globes want to sort of give him the win to apologize for any stuff he had to go by. And while I hate that to be a reason for him to win, I'm worried that is the reason behind it. And even though he deserves it,
You're right. It shouldn't have to be that way. You're right.
It shouldn't have to be that way. But I'm worried that everyone's going to think, oh, the Golden Globes are going to apologize to Brendan Fraser by giving him this award. But moving on to comedy musical, we've got Everything Everywhere All at Once, Banshees and Sharon, Glass Onion, Babylon, and Triangle of Sadness. Dan, what do you have here?
God, this is a 2-horse race. I got my heart over here, Malcolm. I got my heart over here, Banshees of Inisherin, my number 1 movie of the year. And then I got my brain up here saying my number 2 movie of the year, Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I want Banshees to win here, but I think it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Like I'm going Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, I haven't seen Banshees, but Everything Everywhere All at Once kind of has the momentum going at the moment, because that's really getting a lot of love everywhere. Not that I'm saying Banshees isn't, because that also is, but yeah. But moving on to Best Comedy Musical Actress, we've got Margot Robbie for Babylon, Emma Thompson, Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, Leslie Mann for Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, Anya Taylor-Joy for The Menu, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is one that I think Michelle Yeoh is going to win here. But that being said, if there is an upset,
You know who you like.
I was about to say, I think Anya Taylor-Joy for The Menu is going to steal it. If this is where the upset happens, because The Menu is great. I think what Anya Taylor-Joy does in that movie is just phenomenal, and I think if she pulls out the win here, I think it's going to put some eyes on her, and maybe Oscar voters will revisit The Menu, and maybe Anya Taylor-Joy starts sneaking up and gains momentum from the Globes, and gets into lead at the Oscars. But Dan, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I love Anya Taylor-Joy. She's had a really good year with The Northman and The Menu, but I think this is Michelle Yeoh. This is just going to go. Everything Everywhere All at Once train is just going to keep on rolling down the tracks, Malcolm. And she don't have Cate Blanchett in her way here.
Yeah, but yeah, it's one of those ones but yeah, moving on, we've got comedy musical actor. We've got Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Ray Fiennes for The Menu, Daniel Craig for Glass Onion, Diego Calva for Babylon, and Adam Driver for White Noise. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think Colin Farrell is going to win here, but this might be one of the most competitive categories of the whole night, because Ralph Fiennes is amazing, and I love Daniel Craig in Glass Onion. So Diego Calva is fantastic in Babylon. But I'm going with my boy from Banshees, Colin Farrell.
This is one that I because I've got Colin Farrell sort of going here as well, officially on Gold Derby. But once again, to just harp on about The Menu, because I really love The Menu, and I think if anyone could steal it away from Colin Farrell, it's going to be Ray Fiennes.
Yep, I agree. And I don't disagree at all, Malcolm. I agree completely.
Because it's especially with what he did in that movie, and just
it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, and honestly, if he wins, I really hope he starts off his speech with the clap for The Menu.
That would be wild.
But moving on to supporting actress, Angela Bassett, Kerry Condon, Carey Mulligan, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Dolly De Leon. Look, Angela Bassett has been getting a lot of steam, so I've got her to win here. I think the potential upset, whether or not it's an upset, I don't know, but I think Kerry Condon's also getting a lot of love, so she could win there too. But I'm officially going Angela Bassett to win. But Dan, what are your thoughts?
This is where I got to go with Carrie Condon. Once again, one of my Banshees of Inisherin people, and she's really great. And I love, don't get me wrong, I love Angela Bassett. She's in about 15, 20 minutes of that movie at the beginning of the movie. No spoilers. But I love Jamie Lee Curtis and Everything Everywhere All at Once. So that would be a wild, wild win for her if she could somehow pull that off. And she's going to be there, and she's a supporter. There's a narrative for Jamie Lee Curtis because she's a supporter of the HFPA, and she's done charity work for them and stuff. So they might decide to go for Jamie Lee Curtis here.
I mean, I will disagree slightly about that, because I think her being a supporter of the HFPA is probably how she managed to get in for a nomination, but it's going to be equally as controversial if she ends up winning and people know that she's a supporter of that too.
Right,
but moving on to Best Film Supporting Actor, we got Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Brendan Gleeson for Banshees of Inisherin. I keep wanting to say Banshees of Ed Sheeran, but there's a potential sequel. Brad Pitt, Barry Keoghan, Eddie Redmayne. But yeah, look, honestly, I think this is Ke Huy Quan's to lose. Like he's got the momentum going through here. Like he's getting a lot of love. And I think if anyone from Banshees wins, I think it's probably going to be Ben Gleeson. But I'm sticking my oar and keeping my faith in Ke Huy Quan. Dan, what are your thoughts?
I'm right there with you, Malcolm. My heart says Banshees. Brendan Gleeson, he's had a great career. You know, he deserves this honor. But my brains is going, everybody and their brother is going Ke Huy Quan. And he's had an interesting redemption story from not being in the business for so many years and finally getting called the last few years for a couple projects. And I listened to a nice interview with him not that long ago. Very, very touching interview with him about, today, actually, this morning on the Hollywood Reporter Roundtables. They did the actors roundtable, and he had a really, oh my God. I'll tell you what, good choice going to the roundtable for Ke Huy Quan, because he really came across as sympathetic after that roundtable this morning I listened to. So yeah, I want Brendan Gleeson, but I gotta go with Ke Huy Quan.
But yeah, moving on, we've got director, and we've got Baz Luhrmann, James Cameron, Steven Spielberg, Martin McDonagh, and Daniels. This was tough for me, but ultimately, I'll explain my decision when we get to a later category. But I'm ultimately going Daniels here for director, because I think Everything Everywhere Once is just a great movie, and it's definitely telling a great story of how a movie that came out really early in the year is still getting all these nominations, and to think that they started, the Daniels did Swiss Army Man's, like this has felt like a completely different director, to be honest. But so I'm gonna go Daniels. But yeah, Dan, what are your thoughts?
That's who I'm going for. I'm going with Daniels. But look at this category, Mike. I mean, you talk about some heavyweights. James Cameron and Steven Spielberg are going to be knocked out by this little film with these two oddball directors with this weird film. And it's just such a crazy story that this is happening. And you got Martin McDonagh, who just seems to pop up every 3 or 4 years with whatever film he's doing. You know what I mean? It's amazing with Martin McDonagh. And I think he's going to get rewarded somewhere else. So I'm going to give this one to the Daniels.
But yeah, moving on to screenplay, we've got Banshees of Inisherin, got Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Woman Talking, and Tar. So this is where I think Martin McDonagh's getting rewarded. I'm going Banshees for screenplay. And look, honestly, I think there is going to be a split, because I think the Globes do like to spread the love, and I think basically between Martin and Daniels, I think whichever gets in screenplay wins screenplay is going to the opposite's going to happen for director. I'm pretty sure it's between those two in both of these categories. So Dan, what are your thoughts on screenplay?
Now I hit the nail on the head, Malcolm. You're taking it right from my mouth to your mouth, man. Martin McDonagh's got this because Daniel's going to get director and they're going to spread the love. I'll tell you what, both of these two films are going to be the big winners on the night.
But moving on to animated feature, we've got Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Turning Red, and Inuo. This is tough for me because, but ultimately I'm going for Pinocchio. I think, it's really good. I think like the animation is great, and it's hard because like it's hard to think once again. I think the era of always betting on Pixar for the animated feature awards is over. I think it's kind of becoming a free for all now. But Dan, what are your thoughts on animated feature?
Yeah, this is Pinocchio all the way. I'll tell you what, there's too much going in its favor. It's just a phenomenal film, in my opinion. And I love Guillermo del Toro, and I love that he decided to do an animated feature and remake Pinocchio and do it in his own way and put a real life spin on it involving fascists in Italy during World War II and stuff like that. That really resonated with me as far as, great voice cast in there as well. Guillermo's going to win his second Oscar or whatever. I don't know how many he won the last time with The Shape of Water.
But you're moving on to foreign language film. Got Triple R, All Quiet on the Restaurant, Decision to Leave, Close, and Argentina 1985. I think it's safe to say that this is Triple R's award to lose. No disrespect meant to All Quiet on the Restaurant. It's just going up against the juggernaut at this point. Dan, what are your thoughts on foreign language?
I'll tell you what, this is probably one of the hardest categories of the Globes that I have to pick, Malcolm. I'm just, 4 of these films I absolutely love. And 2 of them made my top 10 of the year. And based on my top 10 of the year, I'm actually not looking at the film. I have one of these films at number 10 and one of these films at number 6 or 7 or something like that, or 8. So I'm gonna go with, oh God, I know I'm gonna be wrong, but I'm gonna go with Decision to Leave. Decision to Leave. Even though I know RRR is getting a lot of momentum and gaining, but also All Quiet on the Western Front is a great film. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Decision to Leave. Park Chan-wook. I just think it's his turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like especially when it comes to All Quiet on the Western Front, like it's going to have a more competitive chance at the Oscars, for sure. It's just unfortunate that it just had to be Triple R had to be nominated here as well, but yeah, moving on to best score, we've got The Fabelmans, Banshees of Inisherin, Pinocchio, Woman Talking, and Babylon. I'm going The Fabelmans here. I'm going that like John Williams going out score, so to speak. And I want to think that the Globes will honour that. So yeah. But Dan, what are your thoughts about best score?
No, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, John Williams, it would be great, but John Williams has been nominated in so many different awards ceremonies over the years. He's nominated at the Oscars and everywhere else. I know this is his last meet. I just don't think that score is that great, and I'm going to go for the one shot at Women Talking, having something positive happen for that film, and I'm going to go with Women Talking for score.
And last but not least, moving on to best song, we've got Lift Me Up from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick, Natu Natu for Triple R, Carolina for Where the Crawdads Sing, and Shower Papa for Pinocchio. I love Where the Crawdads Sing, and it hurts my heart to sort of not predict it to win. But this Rihanna's song for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, is just so emotional. It's just such a great song. I'm going for that to win here. Dan, you're probably going the opposite of me.
Yeah, I am. Even I'm gonna tell you what. This is a great category. Best song is a great. All year, this has been a great category. It didn't matter what awards show that we're dealing with best song, because there's been so many really strong contenders in song. But I gotta go with Lady Gaga. I gotta go with Hold My Hand. I just think it's a juggernaut right now, and that movie's getting too much buzz, and I think she's gonna win her second.
Yeah.
Or this is not Golden Globe. But did she win the Globe too?
I think she got the Globe for Shallow.
Oh yeah. Okay. I can't remember. I would imagine because she won it everywhere. Didn't she win that? Was that song everywhere? It seemed like.
Yeah. I'm just double checking, but it's definitely going to be interesting though, because as I said earlier about the Globes wanting to spread the love, this could be an interesting thing that could happen, because they could give Triple R Best Song, and then that opens up foreign language for someone else to win.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of places that can reward Top Gun Maverick, and this is one of the places, I think.
Well, yeah, but that's also my point. Because if Top Gun Maverick's going to win Best Drama, it might not get song. Is kind of what I'm saying. Is there's a lot of places they can sort of spread the love here. It's just going to be interesting to see where they actually go, how it's going to sort of spread.
But you make a good point. Because this is the Hollywood foreign press, maybe an Indian song might resonate with a bunch of the foreign people that are voting, and that's why it could sneak in here and grab the trophy. You could be right. That could be the case.
But yeah, Lady Gaga, but in that talk, Lady Gaga did win best song for Shallow.
Okay, right.
Which is one of those ones like that could be a case of, we've already given you an award. Stop being greedy. We're going to give it to someone else.
Oh, don't get me started on that, Malcolm. You don't want to get me started on that right now. We don't have time for that.
Although apparently Shallow was not the first time Lady Gaga was nominated for a Golden Globe Award. She was nominated for a song called Hello, Hello.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
From Romeo and Juliet, of all movies.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
And that was back in 2012.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
But anyway, that's it from us for this week. We'll be back next week. We're going to be talking about at least there's going to be we're going to be talking about the actual winners of the Golden Globes, along with the Set Decorators Society, Sound Editing Society, Art Directors Guild, and Cinematographers Guild. And there's probably going to be going to be some.
Go ahead.
Was that?
And the SAG nominations.
Yeah, so there's going to be a few things that's going to come up. In between. I think there's got a few other things that's going to pop up. But yeah, that's it from us this week. Dan, we can find you online.
You could always find me at FromTheFourthRow.com, where my reviews are written. I write reviews, and also DisappointmentMedia.com, or you can find me under my name, Dan Skipallen, on various platforms out there, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, DP Skipallen, or From the Fourth Row, or I have variations on all these different social medias. So those are the places you could always find me. But hopefully you'll see me next time right here with my main man, Malcolm, talking about some awards stuff.
Yeah, and you can find me on Tape Productions. We do Gone for the Wind every week. Also, Rankin is coming up. It's going to be on Saturday this week, just because my Monday's a little bit busy this week. Sunday. It's at. It's the American Saturday, my Sunday, but we're talking about the top 12 movies done by Blumhouse in honor of Megan, which just came out which comes out tomorrow or last week if you're in the States. But yeah, and you can vote. I pop up every other place as well. So yeah. Until next time, see you next time.